if you've ever, casually checked your horoscope, you probably think you know astrology.
Right. I mean, most people do.
Yeah, you know the 12 signs, right? Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and so on.
The standard pie chart.
Exactly, that standard pie chart of the zodiac. But what if I told you that in the eyes of the ancient Vedic seers, the people who built this system thousands of years ago, those 12 signs are essentially meaningless on their own?
Yeah, they're really just the superficial wrapper.
Right. So, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're basically tearing down the astrology you think you know.
Because the actual beating heart of this ancient system doesn't lie in 12 signs at all.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It lies in 27 constellations, and these are known as the Nakshatras.
And, just the terminology itself reveals a completely different way of looking at the cosmos.
Oh, for sure.
Like when we break down the Sanskrit word nakshatra, we get two really fascinating translations.
Yeah, lay them on me.
Well, one takes naks, meaning sky, and chatra, meaning region. So a region of the sky.
Right, that makes sense.
But the other translation takes naksha, meaning map, and tara, meaning star. So literally a star map.
A star map. I love that.
Yeah, because the Vedic seers, they weren't looking at these broad, generalized seasonal signs. They were looking at specific, fixed clusters of stars behind the planet.
Like actual reference points.
Exactly. They treated them as this highly calibrated 27-step celestial map.
A literal sky map. And, the way this functions within the broader system of Jyotish, which translates to the science of light.
Yes, science of light.
It's just incredibly profound. I read this saying that if Vedic astrology is the eye of human wisdom, then the Nakshatras are the actual retinas.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Yeah. You literally cannot see the fine details of the system without them.
Yeah.
So our mission today for this deep dive is pretty ambitious.
Very ambitious.
We are embarking on part 1 of a massive 3-part journey to decode this star map.
Right, and today we're focusing on the first 9.
It's exactly. Exploring the first 9 Nakshatras, starting from a constellation called Ashwini, all the way to one called Ashlesha.
And our goal is to show you, the listener, how these first 9 constellations perfectly map out the psychological and spiritual journey of human development.
It's basically tracing the evolution of a human being.
Yeah.
From that absolute 0 point moment of birth all the way to the harsh, cynical realities of early adulthood.
Yeah, because the entire sequence of all 27 nakshatras represents the complete journey of the soul.
Like multiple lifetimes, right?
Exactly. Multiple lifetimes, karmic loops, birth, death, and liberation. But this specific arc, these first 9, they form the foundational blueprint of human psychology.
Wow. So we're really digging into the primal stuff here.
We are. We're going to explore the primal instincts of infancy, the fierce desires of the toddler phase, the intellectual storms of adolescence.
Oh boy, the teenage years.
Right, those storms. And then the emotional awakenings that really define human growth. It's this staggering psychological framework, completely disguised as celestial mechanics.
That is just wild to think about.
Right.
So let's begin at the absolute beginning, right? The spark of life.
The very first nakshatra. Ashwini.
Ashwini. Okay, so this constellation spans from 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes in the sign of Aries.
Right.
And in our developmental map, Ashwini basically represents the first year of life.
Yeah, when you think about an infant in its first year, it is in a state of pure, unfiltered instinct.
Total survival mode.
Exactly. The infant is 100% dependent on outside support. It can't feed itself, it can't protect itself, yet it is absolutely brimming with this chaotic, uncontainable life force.
Right, like they just radiate energy.
They really do. Ashwini is the primordial force introducing activity into passivity.
Because before Ashwini, there's just a void.
Yes. Ashwini is the initiatory urge that sparks the manifest universe, and the planetary rulers of this constellation explain exactly how that spark functions.
Okay, break that down for us.
Well, Ashwini is primarily ruled by Ketu, and in Vedic astrology, Ketu is the south node of the moon.
So not an actual physical planet.
Right, it's a mathematical point, an eclipse point. But symbolically, Ketu is depicted as a body without a head.
A body without a head. That is a very graphic image.
It is. It represents past lives, deep genetic memory, and sudden, headless, impulsive action.
Oh, wow. Headless action. That perfectly describes a newborn infant.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, because, there is no developed prefrontal cortex, no rational thought, just sudden, explosive bodily impulses.
Right. They're hungry, they scream, they're tired, they cry.
And when you combine that headless Ketu energy with the fact that Ashwini sits entirely inside Aries, which is a fire sign ruled by the aggressive warrior planet Mars, you get an incredibly potent, explosive mix.
You really do. And you also have to factor in the sun here.
Oh, right.
The sun reaches its exaltation, its absolute highest point of power in Aries.
So you have headless impulse, Martian fire, and the supreme life-giving power of the sun all concentrated in this one spot.
In one celestial region, yes, it is the Big Bang. It's the burst of energy that basically screams, I am here.
I love that. But to understand the nuance of this energy, I know we have to look at the primary deities associated with Ashwini.
Right, the Ashvini Kumaras.
Yes, the twin celestial horsemen from ancient mythology. They're like the physicians of the gods, right?
Exactly. And their names literally translate to bringing help and truthfulness.
And the myth is so cool. They ride around the cosmos in a golden chariot, bringing youth back to the elderly, healing the sick, and, even performing miracles like bringing the dead back to life.
Yeah, and that myth gives Ashwini its primary symbol, which is a horse's head.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, the horse represents forward momentum, swiftness, agility, fearlessness. It's a very active male energy.
But wait, even though it's the spark of life and it's in a fire sign, it belongs to the earth element, right?
Yes, it does. And it's associated with the knees and the top of the feet.
Oh, the exact parts of the body you need for locomotion and forward momentum. That's crazy.
It's very literal. And the healing aspect of the Ashwini Kumaras translates into this kind of magical rejuvenation for people born with a strong Ashwini influence.
Okay, so if you've got this in your chart, what does that look like?
Well, individuals with Ashwini rising on their ascendant, they often seem to age much slower than the rest of the population.
Oh, sign me up for that.
Right. They possess this robust, athletic, almost innocent charm. And they recover from illnesses or physical traumas with a speed that just defies medical logic.
Echoing the miraculous cures of the celestial horsemen.
Exactly.
Look at someone like Bruce Lee. He is a phenomenal case study for this Ashwini energy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He had Ashwini rising on his ascendant.
Yeah. And aside from his obvious, supernatural physical swiftness and martial arts agility, which is just pure, unfiltered Ashwini horse energy, look at his biography.
Right, his injury.
Yes, he suffered a severe back injury. Doctors categorically told him he might be paralyzed, that he would never do martial arts again.
But he made a near magical recovery.
Exactly, through sheer willpower and physical vitality.
Yeah.
I mean, he completely embodied the essence of the Ashwini Kumaras, curing the incurable.
That's a perfect example. And there's another fascinating deity linked here too, Ganesha.
An elephant-headed god.
Right, the remover of obstacles.
No.
Ganesha represents beginnings, purity, and auspiciousness.
So how does that play out for an Ashwini person?
Well, they have this unique ability to clear obstacles effortlessly.
Yeah.
Not through complex strategy, but through sheer spontaneous action.
Just do it.
Yeah, they don't overthink. They never lose a minute converting an impulse into a thought and a thought into an action. They're the kind of people who will suddenly decide to go bungee jumping at age 90.
That's amazing. Or look at Jim Morrison, the frontman of The Doors. He had his moon in Ashwini.
Oh, yeah.
You can see that innocent, robust charm, but it's completely intertwined with spontaneous, untamed, and often completely rash outbursts.
Very rash.
But this impulsiveness, it presents a massive psychological hurdle, doesn't it? If Ashwini is so untamed, like a literal wild horse, how did this energy ever mature?
That's the big question.
Well, how do they ever actually finish what they start?
Well, they frequently don't, and that is the core struggle of the Ashwini native.
They just burn out.
Sort of. They possess brilliant, explosive energy for the sprint, but they lack the endurance for the marathon.
Oh, because of Ketu.
Exactly. Because their ruling planet is Ketu, the headless body, they often act without reflecting on the consequences.
So they just charge in blindly.
Yes. Younger, less evolved souls with this placement, they'll stubbornly repeat the exact same mistakes over and over because they simply do not stop to analyze their past actions.
Right. The phrase haste makes waste was basically invented for them.
Precisely. To achieve mastery, Ashwini energy must be guided with a highly specific mix of sensitivity, caution, and firmness.
The wild horse has to be broken.
Yes, but not to destroy its spirit. To direct its immense power, they have to learn to harness that spontaneous magic and apply it with some actual endurance.
Wow. Okay. But, pure spontaneous energy can't survive in a vacuum forever.
No, it can't.
Right. A spark eventually has to catch fire to something physical. It has to hit friction.
And in terms of human development, that friction is the birth of personal desire.
Right. The infant grows up, realizes it is separate from its mother, and suddenly it wants things.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the absolute chaos of the toddler phase.
Yes. Mapped by our second nakshatra, Bharani.
Bharani. Okay, so Bharani spans from 13 degrees and 20 minutes to 26 degrees and 40 minutes in Aries.
Right. And if Ashwini was pure instinct, Bharani is the emergence of primeval will.
The primeval will. I love that phrasing. So this maps to the time when a child starts growing teeth, right?
Yes, undergoing the physical pain of that transformation. They change their diet. They try to grasp a spoon and eat by themselves.
They realize they have a choice, wanting and not wanting. Like, I will eat this, but I will throw that across the room.
Exactly. It is the birth of personal boundaries, which ironically manifests as extreme emotional swings.
Because toddlers are basically tiny dictators.
Very much so. And the symbolism of Bharani reflects this. It's arguably the most intense of all 27 nakshatras.
Okay, tell us about the deities for this one.
The deities are Yama, the god of death and justice, and Kali, the fierce goddess of time and destruction.
Wow, those are heavy hitters for a toddler phase.
They are. And its primary symbol is the womb, specifically the female reproductive organ. Its alternative symbol is a boat.
Okay.
It is classified as fierce, female, and an outcast, or malecha in Sanskrit, because it inherently breaks social taboos.
Interesting. So we really have to unpack the planetary rulers here to understand why it's so extreme.
We do.
Because Bharani sits in Aries, so it still has that aggressive Mars backdrop. But the specific ruler of this constellation is Venus.
Right. And this is where it gets interesting, because in modern pop astrology, Venus is usually just watered down to, love, romance, and pretty things.
Yeah, chocolates and roses.
Exactly. But in the ancient Vedic texts, Venus has a profound, dark, and deeply occult side.
Oh, I'm intrigued. How so?
Well, Venus is both the morning star and the evening star. The ancient Mayan civilization actually based their entire calendrical system on the 584-day cycle of Venus.
Really?
Yeah, tracking its birth as the morning star, its death as it disappears from the sky for months, and its rebirth as the evening star. So Venus governs the cycle of life, death, and regeneration.
That is so far from the Love and Pretty Things version of Venus.
Very far. In Vedic mythology, the presiding deity of Venus is Shukracharya, the guru of the anti-gods.
Okay, the anti-gods.
And get this, he possesses the Sanjivini Vidya.
What is that?
It's the ultimate occult knowledge to literally raise the dead.
Wait, really? The power to raise the dead is linked to Venus. So Bharani is truly this ultimate crucible of transformation. It's the interplay between the male Martian energy at Aries and the female Venusian energy.
Yes, exactly.
Let's look at that womb symbol again. Because a womb receives, right? It holds, it nurtures, and it expands.
It does.
But the actual process of birth is violent.
Yeah.
It is bloody, it's painful, and it is a massive, irrevocable physical transition.
It is the ultimate transition.
Right. So Bharani holds immense energy inside until it suddenly erupts into a new reality.
Like a pressure cooker. And that is exactly where the alternative symbol of the boat comes in.
Ah, right. The boat.
Yeah, because a boat is a vessel of transition. It transports you across a boundary or a river or an ocean between two different realms.
From one shore to another.
Yes. Bharani is the cosmic boat transporting souls from the unmanifest void into physical existence through birth, and eventually transporting them from the physical world back to the unmanifest through death. It governs the extremes of the cycle.
That is so heavy. So Bharani natives, they live for these transitions.
They do. Because there are no set boundaries in the Bharani universe, they swing wildly between puritanical restraint and absolute bohemia.
All or nothing.
Right. They want to experience extremes.
Consider the historical figure Imelda Marcos. She was born with her moon in Bharani.
A very famous example.
Yeah, her life was completely defined by extreme, almost unbelievable material accumulation. Famously, her collection of thousands of designer shoes.
The shoes, yes.
But it's not just about hoarding footwear, right? It's about the underlying Bharani psychology.
Which is?
That endless capacity of the womb to hold and accumulate, followed by massive, catastrophic losses of wealth, power, and status.
Yes. That pendulum swing is textbook Bharani. When they lock onto a trajectory, they want to experience every single aspect of it until they have completely exhausted all possibilities.
And then what?
Well, they can withstand turbulences that would break any other nakshatra. They might throw dramatic, toddler-like tantrums when things go wrong, but nothing holds them down permanently.
Is regenerate.
They regenerate. They climb back onto the boat and cross the river again.
That's incredibly resilient. But a human being cannot live in a state of chaotic, boundary-breaking, toddler rebellion forever.
No, society wouldn't function.
Right. If a child doesn't learn discipline, they basically destroy themselves and their environment. The chaotic energy has to be contained, structured, refined.
And that harsh necessity for discipline leads us directly into the sharp edges of our third nakshatra, Krittika.
Krittika. Okay, so Krittika serves as a massive transitional bridge. It spans from 26 degrees and 40 minutes in the fire sign of Aries, crossing over the border into the first 10 degrees of the earth sign, Taurus.
Yes, moving from fire to earth.
And developmentally, this maps roughly to the ages of 1 to 5.
Which is that critical window when a child must learn the foundational mechanics of being a civilized human.
Right, they have to learn to walk with purpose, not just toddle around, to speak coherently, to write.
They have to outgrow the primordial instinctual awareness of Ashwini and the extreme uncontrolled desires of Bharani.
So it's all about discipline. And the name Krittika, it literally translates to the cutters.
The cutters, yes.
Yeah.
Its nature is piercing, energetic, and inherently fault-finding.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's classified as a Brahmin or priestly energy, and the symbols associated with it are very sharp. An axe, a razor, a flame, and a peacock.
So sharp and fiery. And what are the planetary rulers?
Its primary planetary ruler is the sun, but because it bridges Aries and Taurus, it blends the energies of the sun, Mars, and Venus.
Wow.
But the defining astrological feature of Krittika is that the moon reaches its absolute maximum exaltation here.
Wait, maximum exaltation.
Yes, specifically at 3 degrees of Taurus.
Okay, we need to explain what that means for the listener, because in Vedic astrology, the moon represents the mind, right? The emotions and human consciousness.
Exactly. And exaltation is the state where a planet operates at its absolute highest, most refined frequency.
So, the ancient seers were basically saying that the human mind achieves its highest state of clarity, stability, and purpose only when it is subjected to the sharp, fiery discipline of Krittika.
Yes. The mind needs a razor to function at its best.
I mean, that makes total sense. To understand how that works, we have to look at the presiding deities, Agni, the god of fire, and Kartikeya, the commander of the celestial armies.
The myth of Kartikeya is brilliant.
It really is. He was the son of Shiva, born specifically to defeat demonic forces that had conquered the heavens. But he wasn't raised by his parents.
No, he was fostered.
Right. He was fostered and raised by the 7 wives of the celestial sages. And in astronomy, these 7 wives are represented by the Pleiades star cluster.
Which is what Krittika is. Krittika is the Pleiades.
Right. And this creates a profound duality, doesn't it?
It does. You have the ultimate sharp, destructive warrior, General Kartikeya, being raised with soft, nurturing, maternal care.
So Krittika takes raw wildfire and gives it earthly utility.
Yes. Think of the difference between a terrifying, uncontrolled forest fire, which is the pure Aries energy, and the controlled fire in a kitchen stove that cooks your food and sustains life.
Oh, I see.
Krittika is the stove.
Think it's the food. Krittika functions exactly like digestive fire. It breaks down the food we eat, destroying its original form, to convert it into usable life energy.
And on a spiritual level, it acts as a purifying fire that burns away impurities.
There's a concept associated with this nakshatra called Dahana Shakti, right?
Yes, Dahana Shakti.
What does that mean?
It is the power to cut ties. It's the ability to sever attachment to the physical body or to slice through the superficial layers of mental and emotional conditioning.
So it's the ultimate power of purification.
Exactly. Krittika natives simply do not tolerate imperfection.
I can imagine.
They view imperfection, laziness, or lack of clarity as a literal obstacle to their goals. They are piercing. They find faults instantly.
Which, I mean, sounds incredibly harsh. If the symbols are an axe, a razor, and a god of war, it's easy to view this as inherently destructive energy.
It can definitely seem that way.
Right, because nobody naturally wants to be around a fault-finding razor blade of a person. How does this actually serve the evolution of the soul?
Well, think of a master sculptor working with a block of marble. To reveal the masterpiece inside, the sculptor must use a hammer and a sharp chisel.
They have to hit the stone.
Yes, they must violently strike the stone, breaking off massive chunks of material. To the uninitiated observer, it looks like destruction.
Because pieces are flying everywhere.
Exactly. But the sculptor is cutting away everything that is not the masterpiece. Krittika's penetration is meant to cut through the illusions and superficialities of the mind to reveal truth.
So destruction of the crooked, the corrupt, or the unnecessary is actually deeply constructive for the universe.
Yes, it's pruning a tree. You brutally cut off the dead branches so the healthy parts can thrive.
That makes a lot of sense.
Krittika uses its sharper side to command and cut, and its softer maternal side. The influence of those 7 foster mothers and the exalted moon to nurture what remains.
Okay, so the fire of Krittika has cooked the food, the razor has pruned the dead branches, the environment is finally purified and safe.
Ready for the next stage.
So what happens next in our developmental map? Once a human has learned discipline and created a safe environment, the soul is ready to settle down, build a permanent structure, and actually enjoy the material world.
We leave the fire behind.
Exactly. We enter the ultimate domain of material luxury. Rohini.
Rohini. This one spans from 10 degrees to 23 degrees and 20 minutes entirely within the Earth sign of Taurus.
Solid Earth.
Yes. And developmentally, this is the phase where the human starts truly understanding and thoroughly enjoying the physical, material world, utilizing all the discipline gathered during the Krittika phase.
If Krittika is the farmer plowing the harsh field, Rohini is the harvest festival.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Rohini is fascinating because it is unapologetically materialistic. Its primary deity is Brahma, the creator of the physical universe.
And its symbol is very grounding.
An ox cart pulled by 2 oxen.
Right. Its nature is productive, fixed, and deeply abundant. It's a balanced female energy.
And it belongs to the Shudra caste.
Yes, which in the ancient system simply meant the foundational agricultural and labor class that literally builds and sustains the physical structure of society.
It's the builders.
Yeah.
And it's ruled by the moon, which is the primary ruler, and Venus.
Rohini represents the manifestation of Shakti, the universal feminine force, into physical, tangible structure.
Okay, so if Ashwini was pure, formless energy, Rohini is the process of condensing that energy into actual mass.
Exactly. And its special planetary power is Rohana Shakti, the power to make things grow.
Make things grow.
Yes, it is deeply fundamentally connected to agriculture, commerce, physical beauty, and conservatism.
Look at the ox cart symbol. An ox cart isn't a chariot of war. It is a heavy, slow vehicle of commerce.
It exists to move harvested goods to the market to be sold.
Right. It is steady, and it crushes anything in its path, not with speed, but with sheer, unyielding weight and fixity.
Yes, it's very solid.
Rohini energy is like a high-end luxury real estate developer. They aren't trying to start a political revolution. They don't care about abstract philosophy.
Yeah, they care about yield.
Exactly.
No.
Steady yield, ultimate physical comfort, and building a tangible generational legacy that lasts.
There is an esoteric connection here to the number 4, which is universally recognized as the number of structure, the 4 corners of a foundation, and concreteness.
Like a sturdy table.
Right. Rohini connects beautifully to the archetype of the tarot card, the Empress.
Oh, I love that card.
The Empress is the ultimate symbol of fertility, warmth, passion, and the creation of an earthly paradise. Rohini natives are incredibly adept at surviving and thriving in the physical world.
They possess a massive survival instinct, don't they?
They do. They preserve their bodies meticulously, they dress in fine fabrics, they appreciate art, and they are capable of building immense, tangible wealth.
They have this cool, suave opportunism. They can extract favors, financial support, and resources from others almost effortlessly because they are so grounded and appealing.
But, this intense focus on the physical world creates a very specific neurosis.
Really? What kind?
Well, they are deeply conservative, not necessarily in a modern political sense, but in the literal sense of the word. They want to conserve.
Conserve their resources.
Yes, they want to conserve their health, their wealth, and their energy. Because they are so profoundly attached to their physical vehicle and their earthly possessions, they harbor a deep terror of aging and a profound fear of death.
Oh, wow. Because they have so much to lose.
Exactly. That is the ultimate limitation of Rohini. When operating from their lower nature, they become ultra-conservative, excessively materialistic, possessive, and stagnant. If the entire purpose of life is reduced merely to comfort, physical beauty, and the accumulation of wealth, the soul eventually begins to suffocate under the weight of its own luxury.
Which brings us to a fundamental, unavoidable human flaw. We spend all our time working toward perfect comfort and absolute stability.
And then what happens?
Once we actually get the luxury and security that Rohini provides, we get incredibly painfully bored.
So bored.
The soul inevitably starts looking out the window of the mansion, wondering what else is out there. It seeks excitement. It craves the unknown.
And that restless, searching energy propels us out of childhood stability and into the fifth nakshatra. Mrigashira. Okay, this spans from 23 degrees and 20 minutes in Taurus, crossing the border into the first 6 degrees and 40 minutes of Gemini.
Astrologically, we are crossing a massive elemental threshold here.
Right. We are moving out of the purely heavy earth element of Taurus and entering the light communicative air element of Gemini.
Mrigashira is the point where we abandon our physical security to follow our curiosity wherever it takes us. Developmentally, this is the explosion of the teenage years.
The wandering mind. And the deities here perfectly encapsulate this shift.
Tell me about them.
We have Soma, the moon god, who represents the nectar of immortality, and Parvati, the wife of Shiva.
And the symbols.
The symbols are a deer, specifically a deer's head, and a pot containing that celestial nectar, Soma.
Okay, so its nature is characterized precisely as searching. It's fickle, wandering, delicate, and highly perceptive.
And the planetary rulers are a fascinating cocktail. Mars, Venus, and Mercury.
That planetary combination explains the exact mechanics of teenage rebellion and curiosity, doesn't it?
It really does. In Rohini, the creative fires were comfortably encased in heavy earthly matter.
Safe and boring.
Right. But now, Mars, the planet of action and aggression, comes in as the ruling impulse. Mars injects sudden heat and desire into the static matter, mobilizing it.
It forces the structure to move.
Yes. Mercury adds the intellectual, airy curiosity, the need to communicate and analyze. And Parvati represents the feminine goddess energy, endlessly searching the Himalayas for her perfect spiritual spouse, Shiva.
And that deer symbol is profoundly potent. In the ancient Vedic epic, the Ramayana, there was a pivotal moment involving a magical, elusive golden deer.
Yes, it's actually a demon in disguise.
Right, but its golden beauty catches the eye of Sita. Her intense craving to possess this beautiful, flitting deer leads directly to her kidnapping and the complete disruption of her marital felicity with Rama.
A huge turning point.
Yeah, Mrigashira is deeply associated with that kind of illusion. The deer is always roaming, always looking for the next patch of green grass, easily startled, constantly chasing a mirage.
Psychologically, this is the birth of discrimination. Mrigashira natives possess highly dexterous, rapid-fire minds.
Very sharp.
They are often artistically gifted and possess excellent communication skills, but they are constantly forming conclusions based on a massive variety of fleeting experiences.
They don't stick to one thing.
No, they are like a honeybee, buzzing rapidly from flower to flower, extracting a tiny bit of nectar, and moving on to the next flower without any apparent rhyme, reason, or commitment.
But, this raises a massive existential question.
What's that?
If you are a Mrigashira type or just a human going through your teenage phase, constantly searching, constantly flitting about like a deer chasing mirages in the desert, do you ever actually find what you are looking for?
That's the danger.
Because gathering 1,000 shallow experiences seems like a recipe for absolute mental exhaustion.
It absolutely is. And nervous burnout is a major health risk for Mrigashira natives. They stretch their nervous systems way too thin.
It's just too much input.
Right. Its special cosmic power is pranana shakti, the power to give fulfillment. But how that fulfillment manifests depends entirely on the evolution of the individual soul.
So what does it look like for a less evolved soul?
For younger, less conscious souls, this wandering is an endless, exhausting, superficial maze. They try on a dozen identities, start a dozen projects, and abandon all of them.
And for the highly evolved ones?
For highly evolved souls, this wandering is not aimless. It is a highly calibrated, absolutely necessary search for their true life path.
Oh, I see.
You cannot form true intellect or genuine wisdom without first gathering a massive variety of data points. The wandering, the mistakes, the brief obsessions, they are all required data collection for the soul.
So you are a teenager, you wander the world, trying out different identities, experimenting with different philosophies, buzzing from flower to flower.
Yes.
But you can only wander for so long before the universe demands that you synthesize all those scattered experiences into an actual worldview.
The universe eventually forces you to stop running.
It forces you to stand still and ask why, and usually it accomplishes this by sending a massive traumatic storm. Enter our 6th nakshatra.
Ardra.
Ardra. This one spans from 6 degrees and 40 minutes to 20 degrees entirely within the air sign of Gemini.
Okay.
If Mrigashira is the frantic gathering of experiences, Ardra is the time to ruthlessly analyze and understand them. It represents the painful birth of true intellect, and it is intense. The primary deity is Rudra, He's the storm god, the transformer, the howler.
Very intense.
The symbols for Ardra are a teardrop, a diamond, or a severed man's head. Its nature is characterized by chaos, upheaval, and extreme mental sensitivity.
It is a balanced female human energy, but it is heavily associated with the water element, specifically the water of tears.
And its planetary rulers are Rahu and Mercury.
To understand Ardra, you have to understand the ecological function of a severe thunderstorm.
Okay, set the scene for us.
When the heat and humidity build up over the earth for days, the atmosphere becomes incredibly oppressive. The vegetation begins to wither. The air feels heavy.
You can barely breathe.
Right. The violent storm, with its terrifying lightning strikes, its deafening howling wind, and its torrential rain, is actually nature's way of relieving the earth of that misery.
The storm destroys the deadwood to restore atmospheric balance and hydrate the soil.
Exactly. Ardra is that violent thunderstorm occurring inside the human mind.
The English words arduous and ardent perfectly capture the essence of Ardra. This is the phase of life where extreme mental sensitivity and deep empathy develop.
The teardrop symbol is incredibly literal here.
Because they cry a lot.
Well, Ardra natives feel the suffering of the world deeply. They suffer, and through their suffering, they learn compassion.
But they also have this diamond-like quality, right?
Yes, a diamond is the hardest natural substance on Earth. It is forged under immense pressure, and it can cut through anything. Ardra natives develop a piercing, diamond-like intellect that cuts straight through pleasantries to the absolute root of a matter.
Wow. We must look at Rahu, the primary planetary ruler here. Rahu is the north node of the moon. Like Ketu, it is an eclipse point.
Yes, it's not a physical planet.
Right. Symbolically, Rahu is a disembodied head with an insatiable appetite. It represents worldly illusion, obsession, and chaos.
And Mercury, the co-ruler, brings immense computing power.
So when you combine the obsessive, boundary-breaking illusion of Rahu with the analytical power of Mercury, you get the archetype of the mad, absent-minded professor.
That is the perfect description. Ardra natives are intense, unrelenting observers of reality.
They just watch everything.
Because they observe the mechanics of the universe so intensely, they often speak harsh, unvarnished truths. Like Rudra shooting an arrow, their words can be distressingly direct and painful.
But the underlying motive, especially in evolved Ardra types, is actually deeply compassionate, isn't it?
It is. They want to clear away the illusions and karmic dust.
Look at Albert Einstein. He had Ardra rising. He is the ultimate mad professor archetype.
Oh, without a doubt.
Think about his appearance. The wild, unkempt hair, the sullen, intense expression, his famous absent-mindedness regarding daily life.
But look at what his mind did.
Exactly. Using pure, diamond-like intellect, he shattered our entire understanding of the physical universe. He destroyed the illusion of absolute time and space, which is entirely Rahu's domain, and completely reordered physics.
He was a literal storm of intellectual realization for humanity.
Einstein perfectly demonstrates Ardra's special power. Yatna Shakti, the power to make an effort. Ardra actually achieves the intellectual goal that Mrigashira was aimlessly searching for.
But getting to that realization requires surviving the storm.
Right, because Rahu's illusionary energy can create immense confusion, depression, and darkness, making less evolved Ardra natives arrogant, deeply stubborn, or incredibly destructive with their potential.
But the universal mind sends these storms of suffering to test their resolve.
It shatters their ego, wakes them from their stagnating slumber, and forces them to howl and cry out the most important question a human can ask. Why is there suffering?
That's the turning point.
It's the equivalent of doing a hard factory reset on a glitchy computer. Your operating system is freezing up, the cache is totally clogged with garbage data from all your shallow Mrigashira wandering.
You have a virus.
Exactly. The only solution is to completely wipe the hard drive. Doing a factory reset is traumatic. You lose your saved passwords, you lose your customized settings, you lose the comfort of what you knew.
But it is the absolute only way the system can function properly again.
That is exactly how it functions. And once that hard reset is complete, once the mind has survived the teardrops of Ardra and achieved true empathetic intellect and clarity, the soul is finally ready to step outside of its own internal selfish world.
It is ready to integrate into society as a functioning adult.
Which brings us to the final threshold of this first developmental arc, the culmination of the first 9 steps.
The entry into adulthood.
We are moving into the domain of early adulthood, mapped by the next 3 Nakshatras, Punarvasu, Pushya, and Ashlesha. Let's spend some real time analyzing how this transition into maturity works, starting with Punarvasu.
Okay, so Punarvasu spans from 20 degrees Gemini into the first 3 degrees and 20 minutes of Cancer.
And what does the name mean?
The name translates roughly to the return of the light, or the return of goodness.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes, because after the violent, tear-soaked storm of Ardra finally breaks and the clouds part, the sun comes out again, the air is clear. This is Punarvasu.
Developmentally, this is where true, mature emotions come into being for the very first time.
Right. In the earlier stages, like Bharani or Krittika, emotions were just reactions.
Like, I want this, I am angry about that.
Exactly. But Punarvasu is the birth of emotional intelligence. The individual begins to genuinely understand their role within a larger structure, a family, a community, a society.
It represents the realization that you are not the center of the universe.
Punarvasu energy combines a renewed, innocent playfulness with a profound motherly or fatherly sense of caring. It is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of wisdom, expansion, and benevolence.
And you absolutely could not have this genuine, expansive care for others without first surviving the empathy-building suffering of Ardra.
No, you couldn't.
The storm breaks the ego, allowing Punarvasu's light to shine through. The individual returns home, battered but wise, ready to nurture others.
And that nurturing leads directly into the blossoming of youth, which is Pushya.
Pushya spans from 3 degrees and 20 minutes to 16 degrees and 40 minutes in Cancer. Developmentally, we're looking at roughly the age of 16.
Yes. The individual takes on real responsibility for the first time.
Pushya is widely considered by ancient astrologers to be the single most auspicious nakshatra in the entire zodiac.
It really is. Its name translates to nourish or to provide.
And its symbol is the udder of a cow, representing selfless, life-giving nourishment.
It is ruled by Saturn, which gives it immense responsibility and structure, but its presiding deity is Brihaspati, the guru of the gods, bringing divine grace.
So at age 16, ideally, you fall in love with the sheer potential of life. You have survived the teenage angst, you have found your moral compass in Punarvasu, and now in Pushya, everything seems full of promise and wonder.
It's a beautiful phase.
You believe in justice, you believe in goodness, you want to nourish the world and be nourished by it. It's the absolute peak of youthful optimism and faith.
However, optimism and faith, if left unchecked by the harsh realities of human nature, become a dangerous naivete.
Right. The universe does not operate purely on goodness.
No, it doesn't. And that is why this developmental arc does not end on the sweet nourishment of Pushya.
It concludes with the harsh, cold awakening of Ashlesha, representing the final transition into adulthood, roughly ages 18 to 20.
Ashlesha spans from 16 degrees and 40 minutes to the very end of Cancer at 30 degrees.
This is the reality check. You step out of your protective family environment full of Pushya optimism, and you get a job, or you go to college, or you enter the real world.
And the harsh, cynical realities of human greed, manipulation, and competition finally dawn upon you.
There is absolutely no place for naivete anymore.
Ashlesha's symbol is the coiled serpent. Its presiding deities are the Nagas, the half-human, half-serpent beings of the underworld.
Very sneaky energy.
Yes, it is ruled by Mercury. But here, in the emotional water sign of Cancer, Mercury uses its rapid intellect, its perceptiveness, and its cold, calculating ability to control and manipulate the moon, the mind, and emotions.
It is the realization that life is not a manicured garden. It is a jungle.
It is a jumble.
In the jungle of the adult world, you have to survive. You have to navigate office politics. You have to deal with deceptive people.
Ashlesha teaches us how to wriggle our way through complex, dangerous obstacles, just like a snake navigating the underbrush.
Sometimes that means utilizing deceptiveness, evasiveness, cunning, and absolute secrecy just to survive the harshness of the real world.
The unblemished innocence of the Ashwini spark is completely, permanently gone, replaced by the necessary, calculated tools for adult survival.
The first arc of the soul's journey is complete. The human is fully formed.
It really is an amazing progression when you look at it all together.
It is staggering when you step back and look at it. We go from the explosive, unblemished, headless spark of the infant in Ashwini, through the turbulent boundary-testing extremes of the Bharani toddler,
Right.
into the sharp, fiery, necessary discipline of Krittika childhood, leading to the material indulgence and comfort-seeking of Rohini youth.
Which leads to Mrigashira.
Yes, which inevitably breeds the restless, endless, deer-like searching of the Mrigashira teenager, resulting in the intellectual, terror-inducing storms of Ardra.
And then the air clears?
Exactly, which finally clears the air for the emotional awakenings of Punarvasu and the pure optimism of Pushya. before slamming face first into the cynical, calculative, serpent-like survivalism of Ashlesha in early adulthood. 9 exact consecutive celestial steps.
It is a masterful, profound psychological map, perfectly encoded into the stars thousands of years before the invention of modern psychology.
So, we've framed this entire journey today as the psychological development from birth to roughly age 20. But I want to leave you, the listener, with something to really think about regarding your own life right now.
A provocative thought.
Yes. Do we really only go through this 9-step cycle once?
That is the most important question to ask. When you look closely at the repeating patterns of human behavior, you realize that you undergo this exact same 9-step evolution every single time you start a major new chapter in your life.
Wait, really? Every time?
Every time. When you start a brand new career, don't you begin with that unbridled, totally innocent Ashwini enthusiasm?
Oh, wow. Yeah, you do.
Then you hit the Bharani extremes, trying to figure out your boundaries. Eventually, you hit the Ardra storm of confusion and imposter syndrome before finally settling into the Ashlesha survival mechanics of navigating office politics.
That is so true.
Or, when you fall deeply in love, do you not transition from the Rohini romance and physical obsession to the Mrigashira doubts and wandering eye to the Ardra tears before finding mature Punarvasu care?
We are constantly, cyclically living within this cosmic map.
We aren't just reading the map, we are driving the roads every single day.
The diagnostic tools of the human soul aren't broken. We were just looking in the wrong place. We had to look up.
Precisely.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the source material. Take a close look at your own life this week, analyze your struggles, and see if you can figure out exactly which nakshatra phase you are experiencing right now. The map is there if you choose to read it. We will see you next time for part 2.